Food has the power to do something extraordinary. It can transport us back in time. For millions of Britons, childhood wasn't defined only by school uniforms, TV shows, or playground games. It was defined by the foods that became part of everyday life. From creamy desserts whipped up in minutes, to school puddings that divided opinion, to sweets that made corner shops magical, these weren't just things we ate, they were milestones of growing up. Today, we're exploring 7 unforgettable childhood foods that shaped generations across Britain. Some have vanished, others have changed beyond recognition, but every single one holds a powerful place in the nation's memory. Our journey begins with Angel Delight, a dessert that first appeared in 1967. For a child in the 70s or 80s, this powdered mix was nothing short of a miracle. Families would open a packet, pour in milk, whisk it for just a couple of minutes, and watch as it transformed into a light, fluffy mousse. Strawberry and chocolate were the first flavors, but butterscotch became legendary. It wasn't just about taste, it was about novelty. This was the age before endless instant desserts. For children, Angel Delight felt magical, and for parents, it was cheap, cheerful, and easy. It quickly became a staple of weeknight dinners and Sunday lunches, but times changed. By the 1990s, parents became more conscious of sugar, additives, and processed foods. Dessert culture shifted towards yogurts, fruit pots, and healthier options. Sales of Angel Delight plummeted. Though it still exists today, its presence is faint compared to its golden era. For many, just seeing the pastel packaging or hearing the name sparks instant memories of childhood kitchens filled with laughter and the sound of a whisk. Ask anyone about British school dinners, and chances are they'll mention jam roly-poly with pink custard. This pudding has roots going back to Victorian times, but it truly flourished in post-war Britain. A heavy suet-based pastry rolled with sticky jam sliced into thick portions and then drowned in custard. But not just any custard, pink custard. Nobody ever quite understood why it was pink. Some schools claimed it was food coloring, others swore it had a hint of strawberry. Whatever the reason, the combination of rich pastry, sweet jam, and bright custard left a lasting memory. For many children, it was the highlight of the week. For others, the heavy, stodgy texture was dreaded. Love it or hate it, jam roly-poly became an unforgettable part of growing up in Britain. So why did it disappear? In the late 1980s and early 1990s, nutritional standards for school meals began to change. Heavy puddings were replaced by lighter, supposedly healthier options. By the 2000s, jam roly-poly had all but vanished from dining halls. Today, it occasionally appears in retro cookbooks or nostalgic cafes, but its glory days are long gone. Still, for those who remember, the taste is inseparable from memories of school halls, clattering trays, and the unique smell of British canteens. Before crisps came in flavors ranging from prawn cocktail to roast chicken, there was salt and shake dating back to the 1920s. These crisps were incredibly simple, just plain potato slices fried and left unseasoned. What made them different was the small blue sachet of salt included in every bag. Children loved the ritual. You'd open the packet, find the salt sachet, tear it open, and shake the bag furiously until the crisps were evenly coated. It wasn't just about eating. It was about participation. That little act of shaking made the crisps taste better because you had made them yours. For decades, salt and shake was a lunchbox classic. But by the 1980s, Britain had fallen in love with flavored crisps. Cheese and onion, salt and vinegar, smoky bacon. Suddenly, plain crisps with DIY salt felt old-fashioned. By the early 2000s, salt and shake was reintroduced as a retro product, but it never regained its cultural dominance. Today, it survives as a curiosity on supermarket shelves, but for generations of Britons, it remains a symbol of simpler times when even crisps felt like an adventure. If there was one food that defined British childhood dinners, it was the humble fish finger. First launched by Bird's Eye in 1955, they were marketed as a modern solution to feeding families quickly and affordably. and they worked brilliantly, golden and crispy on the outside, soft and flaky inside. Fish fingers became a weekly staple across households. Children loved them because they were simple and familiar. Parents loved them because they were affordable, quick to cook, and far less messy than fresh fish, served with chips, peas, or baked beans. They became one of the most recognizable plates of the 20th century. What makes fish fingers unique compared to other nostalgic foods is that they never truly disappeared. They remain on supermarket shelves and still appear on children's menus, but their cultural dominance has faded. In today's world of sushi, oven-baked salmon, and high-protein diets, fish fingers are often seen as cheap or old-fashioned. Still, mention them to almost any Brit, and they'll smile, remembering the comfort of sitting down after school to a plate of crispy fish fingers and chips. For children growing up in post-war Britain, Wagon Wheels were enormous. Launched in 1948, they were chocolate-covered biscuits sandwiched with marshmallow filling, and for a child's hand, they looked gigantic. Their name and branding evoked adventure, cowboys, and the open frontier, perfect for sparking a child's imagination. In school playgrounds of the 1970s and 1980s, Wagon Wheels were legendary. Children would boast about finishing one, and debates raged about whether they had really shrunk over the years. Many adults swear the biscuits used to be bigger, and though manufacturers deny drastic changes, the perception remains powerful. So what happened? Over time, costs rose, recipes altered, and new snacks entered the market. Wagon Wheels lost their unique status. Today they are still sold, but mostly as a novelty. Yet for anyone who grew up in the late 20th century, they are a reminder of playground lunches, packed sandwiches, and a time when a single snack felt larger than life. Few sounds can trigger nostalgia as powerfully as the jingle of an ice cream van. And for generations of Britons, that sound meant only one thing: Mr. Whippy. Introduced in the late 1950s, Mr. Whippy wasn't just ice cream, it was soft-serve magic. The signature swirl in a cone, often topped with raspberry sauce or a Cadbury flake, became an icon of British summers. Children raced into the street with coins clutched in sweaty hands, desperate to get theirs before the van drove away. Mr. Whippy was more than a dessert, it was an experience tied to long afternoons, seaside holidays, and carefree laughter. While ice cream vans still exist, the culture around them has declined. Rising costs, stricter food regulations, and competition from supermarkets have pushed them to the fringes. Many towns no longer hear the cheerful jingle in summer. Yet, for those who remember, even the thought of Mr. Whippy's creamy swirl instantly brings back the warmth of childhood summers that seemed endless. And finally, we come to one of Britain's most beloved retro sweets, cola bottles. Found in sweet shops across the country, these chewy, bottle-shaped treats were an essential part of every child's pick and mix. They weren't just sweets, they were rituals. Walking into a corner shop with pocket money, carefully choosing a paper bag's worth of treats, and almost always adding cola bottles. Their tangy cola flavor, chewy texture, and fun shape made them irresistible. For many children of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, cola bottles were inseparable from growing up. But over time, tastes changed, corner shops closed, and the culture of buying sweets by the penny began to fade. Modern versions of cola bottles still exist, but many insist the taste has changed, less sharp, less authentic. What remains, however, is the memory. Cola bottles remind generations of Britons of a childhood where even the smallest sweet could feel like treasure. These 7 foods may not dominate shelves or school halls anymore, but they remain woven into the fabric of British childhood. From Angel Delight's magical mousse to the unmistakable swirl of Mr. Whippy, they carry stories, emotions, and memories far richer than their ingredients. They remind us of a time when life felt simpler, when treats were treasured, and when food wasn't just sustenance, it was a shared experience that defined growing up. So now, it's your turn. Which of these foods do you remember most fondly? And is there one you wish would make a comeback? Share your memories in the comments, and let's keep the taste of nostalgia alive for future generations.